Well, good morning, everyone. As many of you know, I'm Carl Brummer. I'm the President and CEO here at Messiah Lifeways. On behalf of Messiah Lifeways, it is my great pleasure to extend a warm and heartfelt welcome to each and every one of you for this important mature driver safety event. We are truly honored to have the privilege of hosting this event in collaboration with the Pennsylvania Department of Transportation, the Pennsylvania State Police, and the Pennsylvania Department of Aging. Providing our campus as a location for continued learning opportunities is not only a testament to our commitment to the well-being of older adults, but also a reflection of the strong partnerships we hold with organizations dedicated to the safety and care of our community, for which we are incredibly grateful. In alignment with our mission here at Messiah Lifeways of serving older adults with Christ-like love, we acknowledge the unique challenges and considerations that come with aging. We believe that events like this play a pivotal role in fostering awareness and understanding. As a community that values every stage of life, we are committed to supporting initiatives that enhance the safety and overall well-being of our residents. We also recognize the vital role that safe and reliable transportation plays in maintaining independence and quality of life for older adults. With this in mind, let us approach this event with an open mind, commitment to learning, and a shared vision for a safer future for all on the roads. Once again, thank you for being here, for taking the time to join us to discuss and learn more about mature driving safety. Let us embrace this opportunity to make a positive difference in the lives of our cherished community members. Thank you. At this time, I'd like to introduce Mike Riebert, PennDOT Deputy Secretary for Highway Administration.
Thank you, Carl, for your kind welcoming message, and congratulations on this beautiful facility. It's the first I've ever been here, and you're all very lucky to have this facility. It's beautiful. So good morning. On behalf of the Shapiro administration, it's my honor to speak to you today about driving safety as we age. In honor of Older Driver Safety Awareness Week, which seeks to highlight safe driving practices and identify challenges unique to drivers age 65 and older. Joining us today are representatives from the Pennsylvania Department of Aging, Pennsylvania State Police, Pennsylvania Division of the American Trauma Society, and the American Association of Retired Persons. Older citizens constitute the fastest growing segment of the population, and there is evidence that this trend is going to continue. In Pennsylvania and across the nation, the health and medical advances are making it possible for people to live longer and stay active longer. Pennsylvania has the 5th highest number of older people in the nation. State data center statistics indicate that the number of Pennsylvanians 65 and older will increase to over 23% by 2040. Approximately a quarter of Pennsylvania's 9.1 million licensed drivers are 65 and older. In 2022, unfortunately, there were over 20,000 crashes involving at least one driver aged 65 and or older that resulted in 287 total fatalities. This represents a little over 17% of all crashes and almost a quarter of all fatalities. And while older drivers generally have fewer crashes per driver than the national average, they have more crashes per mile driving and are overrepresented in certain types of accidents involving the most complex driving tasks, including the failure to properly yield the right-of-way, improper left turns across traffic, and pulling out and making abrupt or improper lane changes. However, older drivers often have a lifetime of valuable driving experience to draw from. Driving's a milestone of independence from the moment we get our license when we're typically at age 16. And since Pennsylvania is a state with a very rural population, it's difficult for people to function without access to personal vehicles. As a matter of fact, a recent Penn State report found that the greatest percentage of increase in population of age 65 and older folks can be found in our more rural parts of Pennsylvania. The loss of mobility can be devastating to the lives of older Pennsylvanians, and most of us want to hold on to that independence as long as we safely can. That is why Pennsylvania takes its responsibility to balance the safety of our roadways with the impact of loss of independence and mobility of the older driver very seriously. If we can add a restriction for glasses or pieces of adapted equipment to somebody's license that will help them to continue driving, we will look to do just that. Pennsylvania also partners with several agencies on approved classroom training courses for older drivers. One of them is with us today, that's AARP, and somebody had asked about some other services. They are listed on our website under the Mature Drivers tab and under Driver Services. So we will stick around here later on if somebody has a few more questions about those services. These classes are offered in both classroom and online settings, and drivers who successfully complete the course can qualify for 5% vehicle insurance discount. CarFit is another opportunity, which you'll hear from a little bit more from Fritzy Scheffler and Matt Frampton in a few minutes. It's an educational program that offers older adults the opportunity to check how well their personal vehicles fit them. Additionally, we encourage older drivers and their loved ones to review PennDOT's Senior Driving Safety Publication Series, and that can be found on our website, our Driver Vehicle Services website. That's www.dmv.pa.gov. These publications help older drivers assess their abilities and provide safety information and give them guidance on next steps if medical conditions are reported to PennDOT. Series also includes a publication designed to guide family and friends of older drivers in what can sometimes be difficult conversations about deciding when to stop driving, as well as information for healthcare providers on PennDOT's medical reporting program. So I thank you for your attention today. I encourage everybody to continue to drive safely, and it's my pleasure to introduce our Secretary of the Department of Aging, Jason Kavulich.
Good morning, everyone. Good morning. I have to say, I get the privilege of traveling across the entire Commonwealth and visiting places just like this, and this is by far one of the most beautiful campuses I've visited to date. I have to say you're also very lucky to be living here, and I'm going to get my name on the list. From what I hear from some of the residents, I need to do that now if I want to get in, so by the time I turn 60. So thank you again for having us today, and thank you again to all the sister agencies that are here to talk to us about something that's very important to us. You know, we just finished wrapping up our engagement tour as we built the master plan for older adults in Pennsylvania just a few months ago. And one of the most important things that we did hear loud and clear from the over 12,000 individuals that responded to the department in over 200 listening sessions that we had across the Commonwealth was that transportation remains the second most important thing for older Pennsylvanians for us to work on. And we can't do that alone at the Department of Aging. The Department of Aging is a small department of just about 100 people. We need our partners with the state police. We need our partners with PennDOT and the Department of Transportation. We need our partners in insurance and also all the stakeholders like ARP and AAA to come together to help us make sure that older Pennsylvanians can still stay active in their communities, that can still get to where they need to go, that they can get to the grocery store, that they can get their haircut, that they can go see their loved ones and friends, that they can take their pets to the vet. We have to make sure that our transportation network is robust and that you can get around safely. And there are times, though, that we can't necessarily rely on ourselves to get to where we need to go. And that is why we work very hard with the Department of Transportation and many local communities to work on our shared ride program. Our shared ride program is a robust transportation network that we have throughout the entire Commonwealth that helps people get to the appointments that they need to and get to the life events that they need to too. We continue to try and improve and enhance that, and we do that because all of you, every older adult in Pennsylvania that has responded to the master plan, has told us this is a priority, and we will continue to work to make sure that that priority remains at the top of the list, and that we continue to make sure that we make progress on it. It's important for us to make sure that we make sure you are independent in your communities, that you can get to where you need to go, and that there's no impediment to that. And we deserve to do better in Pennsylvania. We want to make sure that Pennsylvania really is one of the best places to retire in the entire nation. I think that you saw the plan. You saw the U.S. News and World Report that we are actually, one of the states that has at least 8 cities that are some of the best places to retire in the entire nation. I am one that, I've come from Scranton, which is one of the cities that was highlighted, and I always make a pitch for Scranton everywhere I go. But again, it's because we work in Pennsylvania to make sure that we take care of the older adults that live here, that we work in Pennsylvania to make sure that we help you remain independent, and that we make sure that you age in place in the communities that you choose to live in. So again, I thank you for having me. I thank you for working with us, and I thank you to all my sister agencies, all my partners in the community, and anyone who's interested in making sure that older Pennsylvanians live with dignity in the communities that they choose, that older Pennsylvanians can remain independent, and that they can also drive safely and as long as they need to and want to, with the right kind of support that they need. So with that, I'm going to turn this over to Lieutenant Adam Reed from the Pennsylvania State Police.
Good morning, everyone. Thanks to Secretary Kavulich for the introduction here, and thank you to Messiah Lifeways for having us here at the beautiful facility this morning. One of the Pennsylvania State Police's main goals when it comes to older drivers is keeping them safe, keeping everyone safe on Pennsylvania's roadways for that matter. This is done through a couple ways. One is the educational component, kind of what I'm up here doing today, what our community services officers do on a daily basis. But there's also the enforcement and crash investigation component as well, which, as we all know, certainly keeps us busy across the Commonwealth. Either way, though, I'm glad to be speaking with everybody here from the podium today instead of roadside next to your vehicle. So, when I was thinking about some important information to convey here, I thought I would take a look at some of our crash statistics and what our troopers see, some of the common causal factors for crashes for older drivers. But first, I wanted to relay some traffic laws that could serve to be a very important safety reminder for everyone in the room, not just for the older drivers, but literally everyone in the room. So some of the few that I felt would be important to convey. First is Pennsylvania's move over law, and that's one that hits especially close to home for me because working along the road is something that we do on a daily basis, something that our troopers do. So Pennsylvania's move over law says that drivers approaching an emergency response area must do their best to move safely as possible into an adjacent lane, so from the right lane to the center lane or the left lane, or if that can't be done, slow your vehicle down to 20 miles an hour. That emergency response zone is defined as a police officer on a traffic stop, a fire truck at a crash scene, a tow truck driver removing a broken down vehicle, or PennDOT construction workers as well. So please always do your best to slow down or move over. Second, stop sign. Stop sign is something that we commonly see as a cause of crashes here in Pennsylvania. Pennsylvania's law says when it comes to stop signs, you must stop completely at the stop sign and then slowly move forward to ensure you can proceed with caution. Because we've all seen them. Sometimes stop signs could be back a little ways from the intersection, but it's still important to stop at the stop line, at that stop sign, and then kind of creep forward to make sure it's safe to proceed. Next, yield signs. Everyone's seen yield signs, but sometimes people don't realize when you're yielding or entering onto an interstate, down an on-ramp, it's important to know that as the driver entering that interstate, it's your responsibility to yield to oncoming traffic. So if you're coming down the on-ramp and another vehicle is in that right lane, it is not that vehicle's responsibility to move over into an adjacent lane just because you're coming down to merge. It's up to the merging driver to do so safely. And finally, I figured I would throw out a reminder here about the law when it comes to traffic stops or being approached from behind while you're driving by an emergency vehicle, whether it's a police car, an ambulance, or a fire truck en route to an emergency. It's important to remember always to pull over to the right side of the road, onto the shoulder, or as close to that shoulder as possible. Please never stop immediately in traffic or pull over off to the left. I've seen a lot of that myself, and it could lead to some very scary situations, especially on an interstate. You know, if a driver decides to stop in the lane or pull off into that median. So please always pull over to the right side of the road. And I mentioned before, when I was taking a look at some of our crash statistics, I felt it was important to discuss some of these laws and what we at the Pennsylvania State Police see as two by far of the top common crash causal factors for older drivers is the stop signs and the yield signs. So it's very, very important to keep those in mind. Additionally, from backtracking and talking about the educational component, we have community services officers. They're uniformed troopers all across the state who will come out and do free of charge safety presentations. They work alongside PennDOT, and they will come out and do a safety presentation for any business, community group, and one of those big safety topics that we talk about is driver safety, whether it's for younger drivers or older drivers or anybody that'll listen. So something to keep in mind as well, and they do a very good job. And again, it's our goal to keep everybody safe on the road. So hopefully these reminders are important to you, and you'll keep them in mind moving forward. So, and we will be around afterwards as well. If anybody has any questions for us pertaining to traffic laws or anything related, we'll be around afterwards as well. So I would like to take this opportunity now to introduce the Insurance Department Chief of Staff, Jody France.
Thank you, Lieutenant Reed. Good morning, everyone. My name is Jody France, and I have the privilege of serving as Chief of Staff for the Pennsylvania Insurance Department in the Shapiro administration. I'd like to thank PennDOT and the Department of Aging for coordinating today's event and acknowledge all my colleagues who are here today for an opportunity to highlight these important safety reminders. As you may know, auto insurance is mandatory in Pennsylvania and is an important financial protection for drivers. Individual premiums for auto insurance will vary according to your circumstances, which might include the value of the car you drive, how much you drive, where you live, or whether young drivers or other drivers are listed on the policy. But Pennsylvania does have a competitive auto insurance marketplace with more than 200 companies writing auto coverage. This competitive marketplace provides you with many options to help keep prices in check, and it allows you to shop around to find the best auto coverage for your needs. Additionally, there are a few things that older Pennsylvania drivers can do to further reduce the cost of their auto insurance. As older drivers, you often experience changes in your family and in your work life that affect how and how much you drive. That means you should regularly review your auto insurance policy to make sure you're not paying for coverages that you no longer need. We encourage you to talk to your insurance agent or to your insurance company directly. If you're driving less, or if you think there are coverages that you no longer need, discussing coverage options with your agent or company may not only reduce your premium, but will allow you to explore the most appropriate level of coverage for you. There are a few items that you might want to think about as you're reviewing your auto insurance policy as an older driver. Think about whether you have wage replacement or income loss coverage. You may have bought coverage to pay bills if you could not work for a period of time, but if you no longer work or if you no longer have job-related wages, you probably don't need this coverage anymore. Think about whether you're driving for commuting or driving for pleasure. You may be paying a higher rate for driving in rush hour traffic every day. If you no longer do that, your rate could go down. Think about your annual mileage. You may drive significantly fewer miles each year than you used to. Driving fewer miles could decrease how much you pay. And think about being empty nesters. Make sure that grown children who no longer live with you are not still on your policy. Removing these individuals will lower your cost. Additionally, if all drivers on your policy are 55 and older, you are eligible to take a PennDOT-approved mature driver class. If you complete the course, you will qualify for a 5% discount. A list of approved mature driver courses are available and can be found online on PennDOT's website on the Mature Driver Improvement Courses page. One final point that I'd like to make today is that the Pennsylvania Insurance Department is here to help. Information on auto insurance for older drivers, including a checklist for older driver auto insurance, is available on our website at www.insurance.pa.gov. And if you have questions about your insurance or your insurer, or if you're having an issue, I encourage you to contact us. We want to hear from you. You can contact the department's Consumer Services Bureau through our website, or you can connect with Consumer Services by calling 1-877-881-6388. Thank you, and I will now turn it over to AARP Driver Safety Representative Jim Fish.
Good morning. My name is Jim Fish, and I am a volunteer with AARP Driver Safety. I've been doing it for about 9 years. And the thing that I want to emphasize is the changes that are going through us as we age. And the laws, the cars, the roads, and our bodies especially. So it's important that we keep in good shape, we keep flexible. We know about the change in the laws that the lieutenant mentioned, and various other things. So we want to keep our bodies flexible, and we want to keep in good shape. And everybody says that the older drivers are the worst ones on the road. I've seen some terrible younger drivers. You know, we have a new guidebook. We changed the curriculum during the COVID season when nobody was teaching in person. We have a new curriculum. It's really interesting. I wear several hats for AARP. I'm a deputy state commissioner, a coordinator. I'm a zone coordinator, and I'm an instructor. And the thing that I'm most proud of is that I'm an instructor. You know, when the older people leave my classroom, I hope that they found something that they can use in their lives to make things better. Okay? And at this time, I'd like to introduce Fritzie Scheffler. Thank you.
Good morning. I get to finish off today. My name's Fritzie Schreffler. I'm the Safety Press Officer for the local district of PennDOT, AKA the PennDOT lady, is what I get told a lot. One of the things that I wanted to point out that's very important is PennDOT is not here to take your driver's license. Normally, when I go out and talk to mature drivers, it's the first thing that they think is, you're going to take away my driver's license. Furthest thing from the truth, unless your doctor thinks it's time to take away your driver's license, because we do contact them. So 1,900 individuals across the state each month are picked. It's computer generated. We are not targeting you. It is something where we're going to ask just to review what's going on with your driving knowledge and perhaps your driving skills. Your family can say, we've got a concern about our loved ones driving. They can send a note to PennDOT to let us know if they think that maybe we ought to review that. But ultimately, we're going to send something to you that your doctor needs to fill out. So we want to assure you that none of us here are here to take your driver's license away. That independence is very, very important. I married into a family with a lot of mature drivers. Fun fact I learned over the weekend from an elementary school student. Apparently I'm elderly. Because she said anybody 55 and over was elderly, and I'm 57, so I guess I'm done for. But actually, when we do the testing of the 1,900 a month, that's actually 45 and over. And as the gentleman before me mentioned, you know, there are a lot of people out there that are bad drivers, and it's not all mature drivers. The unfortunate reality is, though, that you're more likely to be seriously injured or possibly die in a crash. And that's simply because of the aging process on your bodies. You are not going to recover as quickly as somebody much younger than you. And that's just a reality. So it's very important, especially for those of you who live, I mean, here it's a wonderful place. My in-laws live at the Masonic Village in Elizabethtown. Places like these villages are set up to help cater to your needs in terms of getting to where you need to be and helping to maintain that independence. So I think it is vitally important that you guys keep those licenses as long as you possibly can. But keeping in mind that there are things that happen as we get older, the medications that we're taking. So we have this program called CarFit. I don't know how many of you have heard of it, how many of you have taken advantage of this program. And in some cases, it's not just for mature drivers, even though that's who it is targeted at. I kind of joke around, I'm a car seat technician and an instructor, so I deal with the littles. This is kind of car seats for mature drivers, because we are doing everything we can pre-crash to make sure you're as safe as possible. So I looked at the list of things that are in here, things that we look at. Reduced strength and physical endurance, check. Visual impairments, beginnings of a cataract, check. Reduced overall range of motion and flexibility. Yeah, you should see me at the gym. Stiff neck, limited head rotation or pain. 3-level fusion in my neck. So yes, I have some of that. Can't look over my shoulder without actually turning my body. Effects of medications. Yes, there are a few I have to take every day. So it's not just a certain age. It's not saying, oh, you're in your late 80s and your 90s. We need to take your license away. That is not what it's about. If you come and talk to us about the CarFit program, and it's going to be the table straight back there, we can take a look at things to make sure we take care of your blind spots in your vehicle. Make sure that your mirrors are set the right way. I have my mirrors set such a way that I can tell when I take it into the car dealership, because I notice they bring all my mirrors back in, and I have my mirrors set way out, that actually if you put your head up on this window, this is where you don't need to see the side of your car. You should know where the side of your car is. You want to see what's beyond that to try and get rid of some of the blind spots. I was telling somebody earlier, technology is a wonderful thing as long as you know how to use it in your vehicle. So my father-in-law had bought a new vehicle. It makes a noise when it leaves the lane, and my daughter thought this was amazing. Pap's car makes a noise when it leaves the lane, and I said, that's great. Wait a minute, how do you know that? Well, it's because it kept going off. So we do, as children of older parents, make sure that we're driving with them. Just like we drive with our teens to make sure we're paying attention to their driving behaviors. I still have my daughter drive me around. As a child of older parents, I want to ride with you because I want to make sure that you're still driving as safely as possible. Because it's all about maintaining your independence as long as possible, but you also don't want to be a danger to yourself and or others on the road. You would not want to be the cause of somebody else being seriously injured or potentially killed. That being said, happy holidays.
Okay, thank you everybody for joining us today. At this time, we have time for a short Q&A if anybody has any questions for our speakers. And if not, we have tables along the back with organizations who are speaking today to address any questions you might have. Thank you for attending. Have a great day.
taken it with AARP or AAA?
And the second time I took it was up at the senior center. And I am not sure.
Sorry. I thought I mentioned.